Mark Sayers please come forward to introduce Andy Pittman?
So Sherry Howie made it extremely clear that I had 2 minutes. So because she scares the hell out of me, I will go with that. And I know Andy's going to forgive me. So it's a great honor and a privilege this afternoon to introduce one of today's new inductees into the 4-H Alberta Hall of Fame, Andy Pittman. I've known Andy for the past 20 years. I've had the privilege of working with him on district, regional, and provincial councils. We've also been facilitators at Club Week, which was always one of Andy's favorite programs, along with the Provincial Sheep Show, which he founded. Andy and I spent countless hours traveling across Alberta while doing 4-H Alberta Council business. He's extremely passionate about the 4-H program and is always putting members first. At council or committee meetings, Andy was never afraid to share his opinion. He was always a team player, never trying to push an agenda. He would listen to all sides of the discussion and make an informed decision based on what he felt was right and what was in the best interest of the members. Founding principle in Andy's life, what was in the best interest of our members. When working with members at programs, Andy's inner kid would always bubble to the surface. He just can't help himself. This characteristic endeared Andy to countless members and their families over the years. When these kids see Andy at an event, they run up to him excited to share what has been happening in their lives and recalling highlights of past shows that Andy was involved in. Family is very important to Andy. His daughters Liz and Sarah went through 4-H program, and his wife Frances has been a key part of the Provincial Sheep Show, as well as being the leader of the Wild and Woolly Club past. Frances has spent countless weekends alone while Andy has been attending meetings across the province. She has always been there to encourage Andy and be a shoulder to lean on. Over the years, she joked that Andy and I spent more weekends together than she did when we were together in provincial council. One of the reasons I stepped away from 4-H was so that Frances could have him back. You're welcome. How's that going first now? We're still there. Anyway, Andy is a typical volunteer who doesn't know how to say no when asked to do a workshop, shear lambs for a club, or even organize a regional breeding show or regional sheep committee. He does this while he and Frances run their farm together. Andy also works at the Federal Research Station as farm manager, and Frances drives bus and works at Pitcher Butte at the elementary school. Andy always has a time for 4-H and is always willing to make time for kids. He is one of the most dedicated and selfless persons that I know. He is still actively involved in the current 4-H Council and is president of the new 4-H Alberta Council. As I reflect over my experiences with Andy over the years, I can't think of a more deserving person to be inducted into the 4-H Alberta Hall of Fame. He has demonstrated all that is required to be a member and a great ambassador for the 4-H, not only in Alberta, but across the country. He is a true leader and a visionary. He truly is Mr. 4-H. Andy Pittman, my friend.
Are we on the research side? I'm not sure. Okay, that's fine. I don't know if this is my better side or not.
Well, thanks to Mark. You're going to find that we have a lot of similar themes on what we talked about here. He was hitting on a lot of things that I feel are very important as well. So again, thanks very much to Mark for all the kind words and for nominating me for this honor. I really appreciate the time that you and others took to put this together. It means a lot to me. Mark and I have traveled a lot of roads together in our time, as he mentioned, and in our 4-H travels. And the actual traveling part is often as memorable as anything. It truly reminds us it is the journey that is important, not the destination. Besides, I would have never imagined that this event today might be a destination for me. Never. I think of so many others that are inductees that I have been blessed to have worked with and been mentored by. To quote Scott Adams, you don't have to be a person of influence to be influential. In fact, the most influential people in my life are probably not even aware of the things they taught me. Thank you to those people for imparting your wisdom on me and this community. I want to acknowledge the others being honored today. Three tremendous people. Sally Lee and Stacy are all very deserving inductees. And to have Stacy Price being inducted in the same year as me is a very special thing for me as well, because her and I have spent a lot of time together in 4-H over the years. That brings back a ton of good memories. This does make me think about the Provincial Sheep Show Committee, my favorite committee in all my years in 4-H. We spent a lot of time working on a project that we were passionate about, and although there were challenging moments that would occasionally arise, we always seemed to work as a team and find our way through with humor and positivity. I think that's a real key in life's challenges. Be passionate about what you're doing, envelop yourself in an atmosphere of mutual respect, and ensure that humor and positivity are in abundance to get you through the tougher times. Thanks to that special group for those cherished memories. Of course, a real key to the Sheep Show Committee vibes was the amazing families that we were blessed to encounter. There's so many good families out there in 4-H. And one of the things that 4-H is about is family. We all see it firsthand every year. Another place that reminded me about why we volunteer for 4-H was my involvement with Club Week as a facilitator, as Mark had mentioned. I was incredibly fortunate to witness this life-changing event on a number of occasions. To see these amazing senior members come together over a week and through deep discussions and activities, gaining a better understanding of themselves and what was important to them, those members would inevitably come out the other side changed. The only limitations we have in life are the ones we accept. And I could see these members now willing to take on and embrace whatever life was going to present to them and know that the possibilities were without limitations. Thanks to those members for reminding me of this. All the positive relationships I've experienced in my volunteer involvement have repeatedly proven what we can accomplish if we do it together. It reminds me of that favorite Margaret Mead quote, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has." I often think she must have made that quote with 4-H in mind, as it has always seemed like a perfect description of this community. Thank you to so many people for your friendship and support throughout this journey. I'm sure my wonderful family members, my dear mom and dad, and brothers and sisters, have wondered at times why I spent so much time volunteering with this organization, as they could see the time and occasional stress it took from me. But at the same time, they supported me as they knew I had a passion to be involved, and it was important to me. You see, although we had an awesome upbringing, our family wasn't really aware of or involved in 4-H. So I didn't know what we might have been missing. I was not a 4-H member, but was introduced to it by being asked to be an MC many years ago at the Wild and Woolly 4-H Achievement Day. From that moment on, from what I saw, kids having fun in a positive, happy environment, taking on a whole bunch of responsibilities and helping and supporting each other, I was hooked. Both daughters, Liz and Sarah, became part of that club, with Liz starting at age 9 that fall. They would both definitely attest to the difference it made in their lives, and I'm extremely proud of their involvement and who they have become. We also know how important it is to have support and encouragement in whatever we do in life. And when it comes to support and encouragement, thank heavens I have that person in my life. Someone who has been a dedicated volunteer in her own right, who I fortunately got to volunteer alongside of on more than a few occasions. The key person who put up with me, got me through those occasional struggles, picked me up when needed, and supported me through good times and bad. Thank you to my wife, life partner, and best friend, Francis. And of course, thank you so much to 4-H Alberta for this magnificent day that you put on today. To try to sum this all up, I'm reminded of a quote from Melody Beattie. "Gratitude unlocks the fullness of life. It turns what we have into enough and more. It turns denial into acceptance, chaos to order, confusion to clarity. It can turn a meal into a feast, a house into a home, a stranger into a friend. Gratitude makes sense of the past, brings peace for today, and creates a vision for tomorrow. So I want to express my deepest gratitude and appreciation for the past, for today, and for what we can all accomplish together tomorrow. I'm truly humbled by this honor. Thank you.